No dead mice today, which I think we all have to agree is progress. Tell you what, that 3 minutes to drink that cup of coffee and get caught up on some of the comments that we've had on the channel today. That's the first time I've sat down all day. It's nearly 9 o'clock at night. It is, in fact, to be precise, 20 to 9 at night. Since I got up this morning, it has been non-stop work. I mean, teacher problems. I had to teach a whole 6 lessons today. It's nearly 5.5 hours worth of work. Whew. Don't know how these people with real jobs do it. But because it's Tuesday, the world of teaching has this stupid thing that teachers will recognise called directed time, where you have a certain amount of time outside of your lessons where you have to be in school doing work, even if you've got no work to do. So even if you're organised and it's done and you have nothing to do, you still have to be there. So my school chooses Tuesdays for that, and we have to stay until 5 o'clock every Tuesday, even if there's no reason to stay till 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. And today was one of those days where I'm just sat there until 5 o'clock marking. And marking is something I can do anytime. I could do it at home. If I wanted to mark between 4 and 5 o'clock, I'd just pick it up and bring it home. I don't ever do that, because I just get it done when it needs to be done. I certainly do. I don't know. I hate marking. I've been sat here looking at this. That's the countdown timer until I leave. 20 weeks, 1 day, 17 hours, 45 minutes, 42 minutes even. That's not bad for backwards reading. So that's until I never have to mark anything again. That is a very satisfying thing to see. I'm really struggling as well with the fact that I can't take my camera. The thing is, I am taking the camera everywhere with me. It's been with me all day, every day for the last 2 days. I'm carrying my bag around at school so that I don't look like I'm carrying a vlogging camera around with me all the time. Because I got so used over half term to just having the camera with me all the time, and anytime something interesting happened, filming it. But obviously, being in a school, you can't really do that. You can't just start filming at school. I can't wander out into the car park and do it, because there'll be kids out there at various times, and I can't really do it on the way to or from school, because either in a rush, well, I'm in a rush both ways. In the morning I'm in a rush to get there, in the evening I'm in a rush to get home and start all this stuff. I might just stop taking it in, and we'll just have to accept that, what did we say it was, it was 87 days left at work on Sunday, so there's 85 days left at work. We might just have to accept that after today there's going to be another 85 vlogs where I'm sat in my garage talking to you. But then for the rest of time, there'll be proper vlogs. So bear with me for 85 more of these. They'll be spread out, they won't all be together. And then I got home, and of course it's pancake day, so I had to make pancakes, make dinner, make pancakes. It's bath night for the kids, and I've just this minute put children to bed and wandered out into the garage to start my other job and come out here and do this. I haven't even brought my laptop with me. I'm not doing a Football Manager video today. I am shattered. I was up until 1 in the morning last night editing that vlog that came out this morning, the one with Clive. That video was originally, there was probably about an hour's worth of footage that we edited down to 7 or 8 minutes of me just freaking out like a giant child. It took forever. Yeah, I was up until 1 AM, so that wasn't fun. But on the positive side, we've got the Q&A coming up in a little while, in a minute or two. But I am getting back on board with the health stuff tomorrow. I'm going to weigh in tomorrow morning. I've invented this revolutionary new health plan / eating system where for the next 40 days and 40 nights, Lelujo eats nothing tasty. It can be abbreviated to LENT. And we're going to do 40 days, or Lent I suppose you could call it, 40 days of Lent. I think it's revolutionary, it's a great idea, and the idea is I don't eat any nice food for the next 40, coincidentally it ties in with Easter, so I'll be able to have an Easter egg on Easter Sunday, because it just ties in nicely. I couldn't have planned it better, to be fair. When I say I'm going to have nothing tasty, what I really mean is I'm going to commit to this thing that I've talked about for a little while now, and I'm going to cut out sugary, processed-y snack things. I'm not going to say there'll be no sugar, because there'll be some things that I eat that will have sugar in. Fruit, for example, has sugar in. I don't eat a lot of fruit, but if I'm not eating sweets and chocolate and cakes and stuff, then I guess I'll need to eat some fruit to get the old sweet tooth kick. But I'm not going to eat any chocolate, any sweets, any cakes. What else is there that's bad? I mean, they're the big ones, aren't they? Fizzy drinks. Unless I know I shouldn't have the 0 sugar ones, but I'm going to because I need them. But they're the big things that I'm not going to touch at all until I get an Easter egg on Easter Sunday, and then I'll eat that. And we'll see how it goes. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, starting to eliminate stuff. I think I think it might work for me, because I really struggle with the whole idea of recording everything I eat in this. I tried to do it. I did it for the first couple of weeks of the year, and it was so boring. And I know that's just a pathetic excuse. Oh, getting healthy was too boring. I'd rather die of obesity than do something boring. But it really was boring. Whereas this one, I don't have to record anything. It doesn't matter what I eat for the rest of the day, as long as I don't have sweets, cakes, chocolate, that kind of thing. So cake Thursdays at work, they're dead to me. The pancakes that I've eaten this evening with delicious maple syrup on, that's the last sugary goodness that I'll have until, well, for 40 days. I'm going to have to switch off at Cocoa Pops at breakfast time and have shredded wheat again. Shredded wheat's okay, surely. And just see where it gets me. If it works well and if I'm feeling good at the end of it, then we'll perhaps do another 40-day period where I cut out bread or something else. I don't know. I'll be open to suggestions when the time comes. I hope we stick to this one this time, and I hope I start to see a little bit more weight come off, because although this wasn't ever intended to be a weight loss vlog, and it obviously hasn't been one, we've barely talked about it at all, certainly in the last month or so. The original incentive for starting the vlog was to have you as accountability partners to help me lose some weight, and that lasted all of a couple of weeks before real life stuff took over, and kind of got into the vlogging habit anyway. But need to refocus a little bit, and let's drop a stone by the time I go to Comic-Con in May, end of May. Is that when Comic-Con is? There's a couple of other things before then that'd be nice to just fit a little bit flatter into the t-shirts for as well. But anyway, I've waffled for like half the time I had set aside for this video, and we're supposed to be doing a Q&A. The feedback and the response to the request for Q&A questions has absolutely been mental. There are so many that there is no way at all I'm going to get all these questions answered. As of right now, there are 76 comments on the video that came out this morning. I would say at least half of them are questions for the Q&A. I'm not going to answer 76 questions. That would be the longest, most boring video in the history of the world. So I'm going to try and get as close back to the beginning as I can. I don't really know how they're sorted on here. Can they sort? Yeah, so if we go back to the start, I'll get as far into this as I can get into it. And if I don't get to your question today, I apologise, but we'll try and get back into the habit of doing weekly Q&As again. So if you don't get your question asked today, make sure you get in as close to 7 AM when the video is released next week, and try again. I think this is definitely the way to do it, by putting it on the YouTube comments, because massively bigger response than we've had when we've done this previously on Facebook or Twitter. So we start off with a question from Ty Woodkey. I think that you've told me how to say it before. I think that's right. So he's asking me what games I am planning on bringing to the channel. I think I mentioned that in yesterday's video, that I was looking to expand the repertoire of the channel a little bit, so we're not fully reliant on interest in Football Manager going up and down. And the honest answer to that is I don't really know. I would like long term, and it won't necessarily be in the next year, maybe not even in the next 2 years, but at some point down the line, I would like it to be a fully fledged multi-game channel where I'll still have the regular Football Manager stuff on there, but when I'm not a teacher anymore, I'm going to have time to get back to playing games the way I used to. And 2 or 3 years back, I used to buy every new release game that came out. We still own every console that you can get, apart, well, that's true for another couple of days. I've cancelled my Nintendo Switch pre-order because there's just no point me getting one, because the Zelda game doesn't interest me and there's no other games for it. But I had that pre-ordered. We buy all the kit, I just don't get to use it. So I would like to always have daily Football Manager content on there, but then also have something else on the go, whether it will be first impressions videos of new stuff that comes out, or whether it will be different Let's Play series for different types of game. I'm not really into shooters, so it won't be shootery stuff. I'm not really into sports games. I try them, I play them a bit, but I don't really get massively into them. I'm very story driven with gaming. I love the Telltale Games series. So if I can think of a way to make that interesting as a YouTube video, I'd love to go down that route. But I always struggle a little bit with watching Let's Plays for those, because they're kind of all the same. Because there's not, although they give the impression of branching stories, they're not really. They all come back round to the same point. If the timing had been better, I'd have loved to have done a series with Mass Effect Andromeda. I love the Mass Effect series. I've asked EA for a review copy of it. If they send me a free copy, then I might do it. I don't. Are you not watching this one, EA? Of course I'm going to do it if you send me a copy. But again, realistically, with everything I've got on at the moment, I've already explained how busy I've been today. That's a fairly typical day. I'm getting by on sort of 4.5 hours sleep a night at the moment when I'm at work, and that's without fitting the gaming in. So I don't know. There'll be story stuff, RPG stuff. I love Dragon Age. I love the Elder Scrolls games. Fallout is cool. So it'll be that kind of thing primarily, I guess. I've also been toying with the idea of continuing down the text-based simulation route. We've obviously already got Football Manager and Total Extreme Wrestling over there. The other big text simulator that I've played in recent years was Democracy 3. And I'm toying with the idea of doing a Democracy 3 series where I could do it as UK or America or both in different series, and just see where we go from the state that the two countries are in. The thing holding me back on that is I don't want to cause loads of controversy and political debate in the comments. I'd want to be able to do it as a game, and I don't know. Politics is never a good thing to discuss if you want a pleasant, friendly community. So, next question. Chris Moen wants to know, have I ever thought about running workshops off the back of my book? I have thought about that. It's something I'm definitely going to look to explore as soon as I am done teaching. I don't know how realistic it is. I don't know how... I know people come into school all the time and get a 500 quid or £1,000 to come and do a workshop. It's definitely an option, definitely something I'll look to explore. I would love to be considered an expert in study skills and revision stuff, and go out and do workshops for students and do seminars and do courses and, I don't know, private tuition, write more books. It could definitely be a route I go down. It's definitely my main area of expertise. Richard Biggs wants to know, how did me and Anna meet? Was it at a nerd fest? It wasn't at a nerd fest. The way I always tell the story is I ordered her out of a catalogue and had to pay 75 quid for her, which, if you translate that into normal person speak, means I signed up for eHarmony. It cost £75 for a 3-month membership. She didn't come up on my matches, but she came up on the nearby or maybe try these person matches. I quite like the look of that page of the catalogue, so I clicked the button to buy it now, and sent her a message. We met up a few weeks later. She moved in a few months later. We got engaged a couple of months after that, and she's been here for the last 5 years. Interestingly, the slightly longer version of the story is she already knew who I was before we met. This is going back 5 years now, but she already listened to my podcast, so it was quite weird. It was the first time I'd ever really met anybody who knew me from podcasting, because it was new. The Mature Gaming Podcast was probably only 15 episodes in at that point. We'd only been going a few months, but she'd found it. She's always been a keen gaming podcast listener, and so she'd know things about me. We would have the normal getting to know you conversations that couples go through, but she'd already know the answer to some of the stuff because she'd heard me talk about it on the podcast. And tell you what, if you've never been in that situation, that's pretty weird. It's obviously not come up in recent years because she knows more about me than I do now, but at the time, it was mad. Geordie Crumpet wants to know, what's the dumbest thing I've ever done? I have visions of looking back on this in a year's time and saying, quitting teaching was pretty stupid. You spent the best part of, I don't think what it is, £25,000-30,000 training to become a teacher, which I still owe in student loans. And I managed 4 years. Well, it's 3.5 years at this point. That was pretty stupid. I think it'll work out okay. That was pretty dumb though. I'm not really one to have regrets though. I'm pretty comfortable with every decision I've ever made, everything I've ever done. It's made me who I am today. But no, if you gave me a time machine now, I can't even think of anything I'd go back and change. There's the usual dumb stuff, like I once walked across a river when I was drunk and ruined a perfectly good pair of jeans. That was pretty stupid. Nothing major. I'm a good boy. Andrew Barter wants to know, what are Anna's plans for when I finish teaching? She doesn't have any yet. Before Sproglet stopped going to school, she was in the first year of university doing a media degree. She got about halfway through that first year before she had to give it up because she couldn't go because he wasn't going to school. She wasn't really enjoying it though, so she's already said she doesn't want to go back to that. Whether she looks to pursue a degree again, or whether she looks to get a job of some kind, or whether she just decides to stay at home, maybe become more involved in the YouTube side of things, or I don't know, just have a little bit of time. By then it'll be nearly 2 years of constant looking after him. So I think if it were me in her situation, I'd probably take a year just to rest first and recover. But no, there's no specific plans in place at the moment. There's certainly not going to be any pressure for her to go out and do anything. She can do something if she wants to do it. She can go out and, you know, whatever she wants. Who knows? Ask her. I'll ask her. We'll get her on a Q&A at some point. Mark Griggs wants me to explain my family tree. I assume you mean down rather than up. I don't know who my great-great-great-granddad is, for example. My immediate family, there's me, there's Anna. We've been together about 5 years. We talked about that. We're engaged. We don't have any children together, but I have 2 children from my previous marriage, and she has Sproglet from a previous relationship. He lives here with us all the time, and my 2 girls live here with us half the time. So that's the immediate family. My dad lives around the corner. My brother and his girlfriend live a little bit further around the same corner, and her mum comes over from Nottingham a few times a year to look after Sproglet while we go to conventions. That's basically our family unit. I'm scrolling through. There's been at least 3 people already who've asked how me and Anna met. I feel like I needed a more spectacular story now. I'm seeing how many of you wanted to know the answer to that question. I should have got her involved in this. Mr. Ribu wants to know, are there any plans to have Sheepdog and Pab on the channel, or would they want paying to appear? They might want paying to appear. They can do one. If you don't know who they are, they're the co-hosts with me and Anna on the Mature Gamer podcast. Me and Sheepdog have been podcasting together for 7 years now. Pab joined us about a year, 18 months ago. They'll be on the vlog from time to time. If you look back through the archives on this channel from before it was Lelujo Vlogs, because this channel started back in the summer as Never Too Old, where I did toy hunts and nerdy stuff and things like that, and it kind of petered out after the summer holidays ended and I didn't have the time to commit to it anymore. But they've both been on videos on this channel before. When we go to conventions, they'll be there. So just looking ahead over the next couple of months. EGX Resd is taking place on April Fool's Day down in London. We went there for the full weekend last year, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Stayed down there, but Anna's been to Res twice now, really doesn't enjoy it, so she doesn't want to go this year. And it doesn't fall in the school holidays this year, so I'm only able to go on the Saturday. But I'm hoping Sheepdog and Pab will meet me down there and we'll mooch around for the day and then come back, so they'll be on it then. They'll certainly be on it when we go to Comic-Con. Later in the year we've got Play Blackpool, we've got the EGX proper over in Birmingham, we've got the Play Expo in Manchester, the other London Comic-Con in October. So they'll certainly be about for all that stuff. But if you want some Sheepdog and Pab action, you need to head over to the Mature Gamer podcast and listen to that. Just search for it on iTunes or Stitcher. It has at times been the #1 games and hobbies podcast in the whole of the UK, so it's worth a listen, definitely. Geordie FM wants to know if I'm going to do any more how to be a football manager on YouTube episodes. Yes, definitely. I had planned to do some over half term. As you all saw, half term was a bit busy, didn't really get round to it. But absolutely, I'm going to look to do more of them. I am open to ideas for what particular things you'd like me to look at. But definitely, it's not a series that I see going away necessarily. It's not something that's going to have regular weekly content on it, but every time something relevant comes up, not even necessarily just while FM17 is out, but over the life of the channel, so forevermore. I'll always be adding to that, and in time it might become how to be a gaming YouTuber, and then it might drift even further towards just how to be a YouTuber. But definitely lots more videos in that series to come. Red Dead Stutu. What was my favourite subject when I was still at school? I really enjoyed, well, the 3 subjects I did for my A-levels. I did maths, physics and business studies, and really enjoyed all of them. ICT or computer science wasn't a thing when I was at school. I vaguely remember there being some Acorn Archimedes computers that we used to program on at lunchtimes, but it was just all self-taught stuff out of magazines. So we didn't even have the internet then. I'm that old. So didn't have the chance to study that at all until I went to university. I wrote my first line of proper code since playing around in the school library at lunchtimes when I was at school. The first proper line of code was on my first day at university. And I came out with a computer science degree, so that's not too bad. I got a first as well. But yeah, maths, physics, business studies, they were all cool. I liked all the sciences, all the sort of technical, logic-y based subjects. I wasn't, bizarrely, now that I take a chunk of my income from writing, wasn't really into English at school or anything like that. Didn't really like any of the righty subjects, history, geography, all that stuff. Hated German with a passion. Quite liked parts of DT. I didn't like anything where you needed to use manly tools or lady tools. But the one I did, systems and design control, where you're basically messing around with engines and gears and stuff, and how that was pretty cool. But I didn't like anything that involved sharp blades or pointy sticks or hot stuff or anything like that. Matt Guest wants to know, where does the name Lelujo come from? I have officially got a rule both on Twitch and on my other channel that I don't explain this anymore, because I've explained it a few times now. I will explain it once and only once on this channel. After then it becomes a legend that all of you have the responsibility to explain to each other in the comments whenever anyone asks. But it literally comes from when Xbox Live first became a thing, however many years ago that is now, 12 years ago maybe. You could go onto a website before it was available on the console and register a username. And I wanted a unique username that didn't have any numbers or anything in it, because everyone was silly stuff like ice cream cone 42, and I didn't want a rubbish one like that. I wanted a proper unique thing. So I just started combining syllables until I found something that it let me have that was unique. I then registered the same thing on PlayStation Network as well, registered the same thing on Twitter, and it kind of just became this thing that, because I'd made it up, it's just a made up word, every time I registered for something new I could use it. So pretty much, I don't know if it's necessarily true now, because there's been other stuff that's appeared on the internet since, but certainly 2 or 3 years ago, if you googled Lelujo, you would guarantee that everything that came up was something to do with me. Various forum logins to different places. There's other stuff that's obviously been written since then, as discoverability and popularity and things have grown through the podcasts and through the YouTube stuff. So there's stuff that's not necessarily connected to me now, and the odd imposter out there, which, if you're watching, Twitter verification people, that's why I want to be verified. Please let me. They turn me down for verification. The monsters. People keep confusing me with some actor who's got the same name as me. Right, last question. I know we've not got through them all, but please, if we haven't got to you today, please just resubmit in a future week. We'll definitely get round you all eventually. So Turtle Combover wants to know, what ways am I looking at to expand both my channels? Looking at working with other YouTubers, opening new series. Yes, all of the above. Collaborations are difficult at the moment because of how precious time is to me. Realistically, today, once I finish, it's now 9:10, so I've been sat out here 40 minutes pretty much. I then got to go in and edit this. I've got a video that I recorded yesterday that I've got to upload, edit and upload as well. I haven't even done a Football Manager video today. Luckily I've got a couple in the bank, so that's not a massive problem. I am on the go until 11, half 11, solidly at night, every night at the moment, so fitting collaborations in is difficult. It's definitely something I want to do long term. But at the moment, and I'm very much open to ideas on this, I'm trying to create more searchable content, because at the moment my thing on YouTube has always been, I create these long series that once you get into them, people stick around. Like we've seen that with the vlog. You guys, I doubt there's very many people who this is the first one of my videos that you're watching. If you are new, let us know down in the comments. Pleased to meet you. But most of you have been around for ages. You watch because it's become part of your daily routine, part of your daily habit. You watch Kev do a vlog. You might watch me do a Football Manager video as well. But those series are really, really long, and they can be a little bit daunting for someone who's new, and they don't really draw people in. Like, people aren't searching, oh, I tell you what I'd really want to watch today. I want to watch episode 94 of a Football Manager Let's Play. Let's Google that. So I'm trying to do some stuff that's a little bit more searchable. I think it's going to be easier to do on the gaming channel. So coming out today, I had my very first experiment. I've always shied away from doing experiments because I've kind of been a bit snooty about it, and it's just a cheap way to get views and hook people in and get to the top of searches. But the more I think about it, and certainly now I'm focusing in on the fact that this is going to be my job soon, I'm thinking, hang on, I want views, I want to be at the top of searches. If it's good content, does it matter that it's an experiment? No, of course it doesn't. So I'm certainly going to do more stuff like that. I'm going to do more tutorial-y stuff. So the video I've got to go in and edit now is a tutorial for Total Extreme Wrestling, which is going to come out tomorrow instead of the Road to WrestleMania video, which will come out the next day, because I've not recorded it yet, because I've been so busy with that stupid mouse yesterday, stupid Clive. So that's the plan for the gaming channel. This channel, I'm stumped a little bit because views on this channel are growing massively. We've gone from 3 weeks ago, we were getting 400 or 500 views a day probably, to, as of my last count, in the last 24 hours, we've had over 2,000 views, which might not seem a lot, depending on how big time you are. It's nothing in comparison to what I get on the gaming channel, but I tell you what, for the level of subscribers we've got, that's mad. I've never, ever, ever on the gaming channel been in a situation where I've had more views each day than I have subscribers. But that's what we get on this channel, because I guess people come in and go back and watch the old content. I don't really know what's causing it, but that's awesome. But subscribers, we've only had like 200 new subscribers in the last month. So I don't know if it's just because it's a different type of content. I haven't figured out a way to get people to subscribe to this yet. So if anyone's got any ideas, let me know. Also, I try to be, and you'll have noticed it, I try to be quite clickbaity on this channel. I'm not being a monster, I'm not putting stuff on there that isn't representative of the video, but if there's a way to make a title intriguing or searchable, or make a thumbnail clickable, then I'll try and do that, rather than just, like, this video isn't going to be released as unknown teacher from Peterborough does a Q&A on the internet. It'll have a more interesting title than that. But I haven't figured out a way yet with a daily vlog to do that big piece of breakout content, like an episode 1 to a Football Manager Let's Play that will get 30 or 40,000 views and really drag a load of people in. There's not really that on here, so very much open suggestions for how on earth you grow a vlog. To be fair, if the views keep growing at the rate they are, everything else will come with time, and I'd much rather have the number of people viewing the videos doubling every couple of weeks and no new subscribers than a whole load of subscribers who don't watch. So it's a nice problem to have. There you go, tick that off on your cliche bingo card if you're over here from the other channel. But it's something I need to figure out eventually, because at the moment it is all growing faster than the other channel did, apart from subscribers, which seem to be slowing down. Anyway, that has gone on for nearly 40 minutes, me talking at you about that, so it's going to need a serious chunk of editing to get that down to something close to manageable for a vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. I don't ask very often, but perhaps the reason that people don't subscribe on this channel is because I don't ask you to. So let's do a traditional gaming style outro, because if I don't do this at least once a day, my tongue will fall out of my mouth. So if you've enjoyed that, please pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.